All right. Hello, you lovely, lovely people. My name is Theo Davis. I am the artist and owner and operator of the Kansas City Art Mail Club, where for $8 a month I send a print, which is what we're drawing right now, along with a 3x3 sticker and a letter written by me to over 900 people. And so I'm starting to do this thing where I'm recording the whole process and then just uploading it to YouTube, because I know there's a lot of people that whether you're part of the mail club or maybe you're just looking to find out how to be a better watercolor painter, I just wanted to share my process from start to finish, because when I was, okay, I'm not going to get into that yet. First of all, a couple housekeeping things before we go through the whole video. Number one, this is my entire drawing and painting process from start to finish. I did cut out little bits here and there, but it's primarily just gaps in the footage or longer stretches of time where I am like mixing paints or, walking away, taking a break. So this is pretty much from start to finish the entire process. So if you're wondering, how do I arrive to the final paintings that I do arrive to, whether you just saw the thumbnail or you get my art in the mail, not only in the Kansas City area, but to 35 states, including Anchorage, Alaska. I still cannot believe I think I'm actually sending 2 letters to Anchorage, Alaska. So hello to my people all the way out in Alaska who love and appreciate some Kansas City art. A couple other things I just want to mention before we just kind of talk about the process of this video and other things going on for me. One, I forgot to auto lock the focus. So for the first quarter to first half of the video, when my hand is in the screen, you might notice it focuses on my hand and then back on the painting. I do fix that, realize that problem halfway through so that it does auto lock. So if that annoys you, you can just skip ahead and you won't deal with those visual blurs. But anywho, this is going to be the September edition of the Kansas City Art Mail Club. I decided to do the Kauffman Center for a couple reasons. One, I've just had a bunch of delightful interactions with the folks at the Kauffman Center. The vice president of the Kauffman Center, Tricia, reached out to me and wanted to commission me to do a couple of paintings for the Kauffman Center for their 15th anniversary that was coming up. So I got some unprecedented access to all the different halls in the Kauffman Center, as well as the backstage areas, was able to walk through, and I'm going to create I filmed all of that, and so I'm going to make another YouTube video about that later. And I created 4 paintings for them, which I'm also going to turn into YouTube videos. But after spending so much time inside of this beautiful, beautiful facility, starting the process of learning a little bit more about the history, I thought, you know what? If it's the 15th anniversary in September, it makes total sense to go ahead and include that as part of the Kansas City Art Mail Club. So this past week, I went out on a morning time, took some video. I always walk around the locations that I want to paint because I'm a photographer at heart. I did used to do some photography for my job as well as a side gig, weddings and whatnot. And so I love finding interesting and cool compositions and creating paintings based on what I see, not just like a stock image that I might find online. Sometimes I do use stock images, but for the most part with my paintings, I like capturing my own images. So anywho, we've gone ahead and we saw the whole we saw the whole drawing process. Let me if you're curious, let me just break that down for you real quick. So I always take a really light pencil, not a number 2 pencil, because number 2 pencil, the lead in a number 2, just a regular common pencil, is pretty dark, and it's also really hard to get up from the paper with an eraser. And so I like using, I think it's an H3 or an HB art pencil. It's really light. And it's really easy to get off with an eraser. And so I like to do a basic sketch of whatever painting I'm going to do with one of those size pencils, because it really captures really, really well the shape, and then I can just go over it with ink. And so that's what you saw in the first part of the video, me going over everything with ink, just kind of solidifying the outlines. And you might notice that a lot of my lines, they're not perfect. They're wiggly. They don't always connect. The perspective isn't exact. That's not what I like for my art. I don't like my art to be perfection. I call my art storybook style art because I want it to invoke the way that maybe a kid would draw, maybe the way you would see something in a storybook. And yeah, I really love that about my artwork. And so now we're in the painting process. I use pan paints, which are pan watercolor paints, which are these paints that they come in these little, they're like the size of a quarter almost, pans of paint, and you can put them in these literal pans. I wish it was on the screen so you could see. But I have a bunch of different colors. I think I have about 36 colors that I use to give me a nice range of color. And now I'm just starting to lay it down. Now, I'm sure you're wondering right now, well, Theo, why are the trees yellow? And this is something I do in a lot of my paintings because watercolor is actually a really transparent medium. Like if you were to use oil or acrylic paint, for example, once you lay down a layer of paint, it completely covers up the previous layer. Unless it's extremely thin and you've watered it down with some other medium. For the most part, I think the word is, it's completely opaque, or forget that. I forget the definition of opaque. You can't see through it. Watercolor, you can completely see through each layer. You can make layers thicker by mixing more paint, but no matter what, you're pretty much always going to be able to see through whatever layer of paint you're doing. So for grass and greenery, I actually like to lay down yellow, because then when I go back over and I lay down green on top of that, I suddenly get this brand new color because the yellow is shining through once it's dried. And so now I have this green, but I also have these little dots of yellow that are shining through. And our brains love to try and make sense of information. And I don't know, it gives this beautiful texture to these leaves that I'm putting on. And so I'm actually using my brush in such a way that I'm creating like a leaf pattern. If you see the actual photo that I'm referencing, the leaves don't look anything like this, but you know what? This is my painting. I can do whatever I want with it. And so the leaves are going to look this way. Now, you might also be wondering, Theo, I see you've outlined the Kauffman Center, the street, some of the dirt, even the grass in the distance, the bushes behind the Kauffman Center. Why didn't you outline the trees, like the leaves on the trees? And that's for a reason. I had a vision, and I wanted to leave room for that vision to come to life. So I wanted to create some like artistic element, a unique element that isn't just a one-for-one creation, but has some artistic flair. So from the beginning of the painting, I knew I wanted to put music notes in the tree line, inside of the trees, to almost look like leaves on the trees. But I didn't want to put those down first. I wanted to make the tree, kind of see what the vibe was like, what the colors was like, how dark it was. And then at the very end of the video, or the end of the process, I was going to lay down the music notes if I felt like music notes would still be appropriate once I see kind of how the whole painting comes together. Painting is sometimes relaxing, sometimes stressful, because especially with watercolor, if you make a mistake, which I do make a mistake in this painting, you can't undo it. It just kind of is, and you got to work with it. And I love Bob Ross because, and this is what I was going to say earlier on, I love Bob Ross so much because I would often go to my grandmother's house, Grandma Ellis's house, and she would always have Bob Ross playing on the TV in the dining room. And I loved going there specifically to watch Bob Ross. I don't know why I didn't watch it at my own house. I think I just didn't know what channel it was on. But Bob Ross was always seemed to be on at my grandmother's house, and I loved watching his painting process. I loved watching him bring a canvas to life and just marveling at how this man was able to take a few basic colors and create something wholly unique. It was just magical to me. And Bob Ross would always say something. He's like, "Oh, that's just a happy little accident right there." And that really did stick with me. That's stuck with me for years and years and years. That if I make a mistake while making art, it's not an accident. It's not, I don't need to throw the whole painting away. No, it's a happy little accident. You roll with it, you work with it, and you keep going. Because if the great Bob Ross makes accidents, then I think I'm allowed to make an accident or two myself. So as you see, I keep going back and forth between the green and other layers, making things darker. So I always put one basic layer down of everything, and then I go back and I keep adding more layers to darken it up and darken it and enrich the colors more and more. The color will have kind of a pastel look, and this is where, if you're a watercolor artist, you might or you're an aspiring watercolor artist, you might initially go like, "Oh my gosh, this isn't good. This isn't what I see online or on social media." It's probably because you just need to add more layers. And so you'll see here, this is probably the fourth or fifth layer that I've done on the trees now. I've only used lemon yellow and then I think peppermint green or pepper green. And now I'm actually using a different type of green. It's called an olive green. And I always use olive green as like kind of the darker parts of my trees and my shrubbery. And then I'll go back in and maybe add a little bit of indigo blue, which is a much darker blue, to kind of give even more shadow. But as you see, I'm giving the tree shape and form. The sun is rising from the east, the left side of the painting right now. So I'm trying to put all the shadows on the right side of the trees. And shadows in paintings are so important because that really helps elevate artwork to a whole nother level. I know a lot of really great artists that don't really incorporate shadow in their architecture, but if they were to incorporate shadow, oh my gosh, their work would like just go to a whole nother level. Anyway, I'm just starting the process of incorporating shadow. I usually wait until the very end of the painting to do shadow, but we're starting to kind of add it in. On the back of the Kauffman Center, there are these massive, I think there's something like a yard thick each, maybe 4 feet thick, maybe even 5 feet, honestly, of these metal panels that spread across the back of these, the clam kind of comb over. I don't know how to describe it, but that's what I'm painting right now. I'm just trying to give some indications of those metal panels. And that's really like, that's the thing about watercolor. You get to pick and choose how much detail you want to add. You get to pick and choose how to indicate something. With watercolor and really any kind of artwork, you're not trying to make a carbon copy unless you're a hyper-realistic artist, which I can do, but I don't enjoy it. And so instead of trying to, with my Micron pen, outline every single panel, no, I'm just going to use my brush, get some light indigo blue, and start that process of indicating some blue shadow right there. And so now, going through puberty again. So now I'm going back through the tree and again adding just a little bit more darker tones. I'm starting to add the shadow on the ground. This is the light casting of the shadow at first. And so I know I'm going to like go back over and make this darker, but this is exactly what I want. But then I go back and I accidentally bring too dark of a blue indigo in there. And as I'm spreading it, I realize, oh no, this is too dark. I should have gone much lighter and been much more patient. But you know what? It is what it is. And so as you see, I'm adding some more shadow in different places with that lighter blue. but you just kind of work with it. The sky is made of, I think that's cerulean blue, along with a teal blue. I think it's called turquoise something or other. And I'm starting to use like these two tones for the sky, because whenever you look at a painting, or I'm sorry, a photograph, or even a painting, if you go to a museum, you'll notice that the sky at the top of the painting is usually darker than the sky on the horizon. That just has to do with atmospheric refraction and different things going on there. But when you're creating artwork, instead of the whole sky being a solid color, you actually create a lot more realism, and you make it feel like a real place if the top of the sky is a darker color, and then you gradually make it lighter. And so now I'm working on some of the shadow. The shadow from the left side of the clamshell dome is casting on the right side, and so I just was starting to put a little bit of that down there. And now I'm going in and I'm starting to add some of those music notes that I was talking about. So I'm pretty close to the end of the painting at this point, but this is where I'm starting to get creative. This is where I think the average person would go, this is great, this is good, I'm going to just stop there. And so now I'm going back over and I'm starting to add in some of these music notes. If you don't know, and most of you probably don't, I'm also a musician. I play guitar, I play piano, mainly acoustic guitar. I can do electric guitar with all the different settings. I play bass guitar. I bought a cello and learned how to play one song, but it was way too hard. So I do have an appreciation for music, and the Kauffman Center is one of these places that is just known for amazing orchestras, amazing performances. And I wanted to capture that a little bit in this month's mailing by adding some music notes. But I play mostly by ear. I actually can't read music, so I don't know the symbols very well. So that's why I have this reference of music notes next to me. And right now I'm just kind of haphazardly laying them down. I didn't really have a plan, but here's the cool thing, the beautiful thing. As you start creating, ideas continue to come to mind. And so I wasn't planning to actually put any lines. You see the main clef or whatever, and then the 5 lines that music notes usually sit on top of. I had no intention of putting them down. I knew I was going to put music notes primarily on the edges of the tree, but then I was like, you know what? I have an idea. What if I draw 1 or 2 of these lines and, oh my gosh, look at this. This actually looks really, really cool. Let me go ahead and add all of them there. And guys, I just fell in love with this. And I love it too because I forget what the big symbol is called, but that's usually the beginning of the bar of notes. And so it was a happy accident. It just worked out. And so then I started drawing more music notes along the sheet music that I was doing. I don't think I'm actually writing actual music right now. It's just sort of a jumble of notes. If you can read music, I'd love to hear whatever in the world I've actually put down. But here is the part where I accidentally put down shadow darker than I would like to put it down. So I'm going back with a towel and I'm like, oh no, it's too dark. I don't want it that dark. But that's okay because, again, accidents happen. And I'm just going to end up darkening some other parts of the picture to help it blend in. I ultimately did want to get this dark. I just like taking my time as I'm building up layers of darkness because you just can't go lighter. Once in watercolor, once you go dark to a certain extent, you can't pull it back. So now I'm going back through in some of the shadow parts and making those places darker to kind of match the shadow in the foreground. But oh my gosh, I'm just loving how this is coming out. So anywho, we are starting to come toward the end of the video, so let me start wrapping things up by saying this is how I support my family. I am a full-time artist. I did work in a career for about 20 years, but quit that job back in January of 2026, and now I am 8 months in as a full-time artist. and I am on my way to turning my first year of creating art into a six-figure business. And I'm so ecstatic. I'm so excited about that. Thank you guys so much for your support. It does help support me and my family of five. In fact, it completely pays my rent. It pays all of our bills. It buys our food, and it enables us to pay off our debt and hopefully start saving some cash in the next couple of months here. So if you love Kansas City and you love just collecting art from local artists, or if you want to support this autistic artist, I would be more than happy to have you part of the club. The way you can sign up is you can head to my link in somewhere either in the description or in my bio of the YouTube channel. Will be a place where you can go and sign up. It's only $8 a month, and for $8 a month you get a print of this lovely painting. You get a 3x3 vinyl sticker that goes on water bottles, waterproof. You'll get a letter from me talking about the history of the location in a really cool and interesting way. And the best part that I don't talk about enough of is the fact that one lucky member every single month gets the original painting in addition to the print. And so yes, normally I sell these for about $350, but I always give the original away because I just think it's fun and I want more people to be able to have original artwork. And you know what? By doing stuff like this, it actually generates more buzz around my art, and then I do find more original collectors. But my main bread and butter is my mail club. It's not creating originals, it is selling prints. And so if you'd like to create a little collage on your wall, now's a great time. I'm getting ready to wrap up the first year of the Kansas City Art Mail Club, and then I've got some great things in store for the following year. So if you want to be part of the club, want to be one of the 900 plus people, I'm trying to get to 1,000 by the end of the year, just go ahead and sign up. You can cancel anytime. And oh, I also forgot to mention that we also donate over $300 every single month to a local humanitarian organization here in Kansas City. And so not sure who we're going to donate to this month, but we've donated over $2,000 over the last year. So guys, thank you so much. This is a huge joy. I so deeply appreciate that you're going on this journey with me. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And guys, thank you so much. Spread the word, help the club grow.